The night of the Super Bowl is always larger than life. Flashing lights, celebrity sightings, million-dollar suites, and cameras capturing every move. And right in the middle of that electric atmosphere was Cardi B, glowing, confident, and completely in her element. Fans were already calling her one of the most talked about stars in the stadium, not just because of what she wore, but because of the energy she carried. She looked like someone who had nothing but celebration on her mind. But what happened next quietly shifted the entire conversation. Because just when people expected to see her moving from the game to the biggest after parties of the night, something unexpected happened. Cardi B disappeared from the usual celebrity circuit. No viral dance clips from inside packed VIP rooms, no late-night group photos, no chaotic, fun live streams that fans are used to seeing from her during major events. Instead, the next time she was spotted, it was in a completely different setting. A stunning, ultra-private luxury Airbnb that looked more like a hidden celebrity retreat than a temporary stay. The property itself instantly became part of the story. Floor-to-ceiling windows, modern architecture, soft ambient lighting, and the kind of quiet that feels almost impossible during Super Bowl weekend. It was the opposite of the noise, the crowds, and the high-energy parties. And that contrast is exactly what made fans start asking questions. Not because there was any official announcement, not because Cardi said anything directly, but because the change in atmosphere was impossible to ignore. This is Cardi B, the same woman who built her career on being unapologetically loud, funny, unfiltered, and present in every major pop culture moment. She doesn't usually vanish into the background. She doesn't usually choose silence when the world is celebrating. So when she suddenly appeared in a calm, private, almost cinematic setting, the internet did what it always does. It started connecting dots. Social media timelines began filling with side-by-side comparisons. Stadium Cardi versus getaway Cardi. High-energy Cardi versus soft life Cardi. And people weren't just talking about where she was. They were talking about what it might mean. Was this simply a planned luxury stay? Was it a much-needed break after a long night? Or was it something more personal, a quiet moment away from the spotlight? What made the speculation grow even faster was the timing. The move happened so quickly after the Super Bowl that it felt almost like a scene change in a movie. One moment, flashing cameras and crowd noise. The next moment, privacy, stillness, and a completely different mood. And when a celebrity known for sharing her life so openly suddenly becomes selective about what we see, people notice. But at the center of all this conversation is Cardi B herself. Not just the celebrity, but the person who has spent years redefining what it means to live publicly. She has always been someone who lets fans in on her thoughts, her moods, her wins, and even her frustrations. That's why even her silence can feel loud. Even her location can feel like a message, whether it actually is or not. There's also something else that keeps fans emotionally invested in her every move, her journey. Cardi B's life has never followed a predictable script. From the Bronx to global superstardom, from reality TV to Grammy wins, from viral moments to business ventures, she has turned every phase of her life into a headline. And through all of it, she has remained someone who moves on her own terms. That's why this moment, this quiet, luxurious escape, feels so fascinating to people. It fits into the larger story of a woman who constantly shifts between chaos and control, between public energy and private space. And maybe that's the real reason this situation captured so much attention. Not because of drama, not because of confirmed news, but because it showed a different version of Cardi B, one that felt calm, intentional, and completely in charge of her environment. The visuals coming from that property weren't just about luxury, they were about mood. Soft lighting, relaxed body language, a slower pace. It looked like someone stepping out of the noise and into their own world. Fans began to debate what this era of Cardi might represent. Is she entering a new phase of her career? Is she becoming more selective about where she shows up and how she shows up? Is this the beginning of a more private, more controlled chapter in her life? Or was it simply one night, one location, one moment that the internet turned into a full-blown narrative? Because that's the thing about modern celebrity culture. A single movement can create 1,000 theories. And with someone like Cardi B, whose personality is larger than life, even the smallest change in routine becomes a major talking point. What makes her different from so many other celebrities is that she has never tried to appear perfect. She has built her brand on honesty, humor, and raw emotion. So when she chooses a setting that feels peaceful and almost cinematic, people don't just see a location, they see a possible reflection of her state of mind. Whether that interpretation is accurate or not doesn't even matter. The conversation itself becomes the headline. And throughout all of this, Cardi B continues to do what she has always done best: stay unpredictable. She doesn't follow the expected route. She doesn't move according to the public's timeline. One day, she's dominating social media with her voice and laughter. The next, she's in a quiet luxury space that looks like a scene from a high-fashion editorial. There's also a deeper layer to why this moment feels so intriguing. For years, Cardi B has represented hustle, noise, ambition, and constant motion. Seeing her in a setting that represents stillness and privacy creates a powerful contrast. It feels like watching someone step into a new energy, softer, more controlled, more intentional. And yet, even in that quiet setting, her presence still dominates the conversation. That's the level of influence she has reached. She doesn't need to say anything. She doesn't need to explain anything. The world watches anyway. As the hours passed and the images continued to circulate, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about a location, it was about the aura of the moment, the mystery of it, the fact that no one knew the full story. And in today's world, mystery is the most powerful form of publicity. Because with Cardi B, every chapter feels like the beginning of something. A new era, a new sound, a new business move, a new version of herself. And whether this luxury Airbnb stay was simply a comfortable place to rest or a symbolic reset, it added another layer to the ongoing story that fans can't stop watching. By the end of the night, the Super Bowl itself was no longer the only thing people were talking about. The conversation had shifted to Cardi B's quiet, glamorous escape, a move that said everything without saying anything at all. And maybe that's her real power. She can own the loudest room in the world, and she can also leave it, step into silence, and still remain the most talked about person in the entire situation. Because when Cardi B moves, the internet doesn't just watch, it tries to understand. And in that space between what we see and what we don't know, the legend of Cardi B keeps getting bigger. The more people tried to read into the moment, the more the image of Cardi B inside that quiet, ultra-luxurious space began to take on a life of its own. It wasn't just about where she was staying, it was about the feeling that surrounded her, the calm lighting, the soft background, the sense that for once, she was completely away from the chaos that usually follows her everywhere. For someone whose career has been built in front of millions of eyes, choosing a setting that felt so private almost looked like a statement without words. And with Cardi, even silence has personality.